Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're listening. Thanks so much for tuning in and welcome to the Wealthy LaLa Show with myself, Laurie Laursen. So today is one show episode podcast 150. 150. I know I started at 100, so this is my 50th show. So how's it get any better? Like 10 weeks I've been doing this already. And oh, it's created so much in my world. Even if I get really kind of behind with it, and I think it was even yesterday's show. I was like, oh, I'm going to go meditate, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my god, I got an hour and a half till my podcast published. It's like I might want to go do my show, but it's still exciting for me. It's not a so. And today I'm actually really excited. I woke up this morning thinking about today's subject. It was just in my awareness already. And yesterday I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about how sometimes when you're in a group, and this group could be like a large, it could be a family, it could be your work environment, it could be, a large circle of friends in your community, or it could be like I've been in places where like I've taken a lot of classes, and in some of them, depending on how involved you get with them, there's that kind of circle community too. And we were talking about it, and I said, well, what's really cool, because what I'm noticing, like yesterday I was on a 1 hour call with Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I mean, he's just so on, maybe a lot of people say this, but I just really get it so true with him. He's so on the leading edge of understanding like the quantum field, the energetics, the places and spaces that we really truly create our lives from. Okay. And so I was listening to his call yesterday, and there's such a congruence and such a level of openness and kindness in his conversations. And there's no exclusion. It's so inclusive and it's so congruent. I don't know if I said that word, but it's so congruent. Like it's so congruent, like it matches this beautiful energy of creating more or greater in the world. And so I'd gotten off that call, and I was chatting with this friend about, what's really cool about Dr. Joe's work is that for me, I don't I feel like if I was to take one of his books and do a book club, or have some people come over and let's do some meditations together of his, I don't get that I would get my hand slapped, that I would be in trouble for it. And so there's been a few situations in my life where that energy was really real and true in my world. And actually a lot has changed even just from yesterday, from this conversation, because awareness sometimes of actually really seeing what was going on or what it takes to change it can be the catalyst that actually changes it. So anyways, we're having this conversation, and I'm saying, yeah, it's like when with this particular situation, like I felt like if I was to do something, maybe outside of the rules, and the rules could have been, and that's the thing, people, is the rules can be spoken and unspoken, but there's an energy of don't you dare, don't you say that, don't you do that. And that even when you are in a particular group, and again, like I can find this in definitely more than one place in my life, where it's not only can you not say anything, not do anything, are within or without outside of these boundaries or rules, spoken and unspoken. Not only that, but there's actually no one to talk to. So within this group, whether it's community, family, or of whatever sort, not only are these rules there, but there's actually no one to talk to about them. Because if you do, you're very likely going to be the one that's made wrong. And it's funny because it's kind of reminding me of the gaslighting and narcissism stuff that I've, seen of, is where, they try and make you crazy and like make you like you're the one who's wrong, when you have an awareness of how something is working or not working. And there's no place to go with it. And when you don't have a strong sense of self, this can mess you up. And that's what they play on too, right? Now, and this isn't saying that every situation is exactly the same, and you can find these energies in places, like all different places. So what was interesting was that after this conversation, the topic just sort of sat in my head, because this person I was talking to said, "Oh, I've never been impacted by that. Like, this person has never been impacted by this. Like, they'd never been impacted by the fact that they shouldn't, draw outside the lines, or do something, do whatever is just light or whatever and creates more." And I was like, "What? How do you not ever have had this experience? Like, how have you never had that energy? Like, how are you actually truly 100% purely beyond those, fears, discomforts, anxiousness of feeling like you could get in trouble, that you're wrong, that you are, don't you dare say it. That's like a family secret, that's a group secret, that's a community secret. We all, those things that we just keep under wraps, like everybody kind of, well, some people might not know about it, but everybody, there's an energy there where people do know about it, but no one's saying anything. And so when this person was saying to me that, well, I've just never understood that, I've never been impacted by it, I was freaking like mind blown by that, because I didn't know that someone could actually, like, to meet a real life person, a real live person who's actually never been impacted by that. And the thing is it's not in one of those like F you kind of ways, like, well, I'm just, F you, I'm not doing that. This person actually is so congruent with that. So that was it. That was kind of that for the afternoon. And the afternoon went on. My hubby came home. We have this cute little hot tub. So we had a awesome hot tub as the sun was, going down. It didn't quite go down, but like the sun was just shining on us. And we're out there in the hot tub. It was like, I don't know, -10 or something. And we had our toques on and just enjoying it. And we had supper and stuff like that. And then I had to go back to this particular, person and text them and say, "Hey, I get that conversation for me is not over." And she's like, "Well, with regards to what?" And I said, "Well, with regards to this, you know, like, how did you not ever feel impacted, like, by those underlying, secrets and rules and stuff that get held within and groups and families and, groups of friends and communities and, um, even consciousness groups or groups that are, yeah, just, big class organizations and stuff like that." And and she just wrote, I should actually find it, because if I say the exact words, it actually has the thing. Where is it? She says, hmm. Um, she says for her, even though she was so enthralled with this particular thing, it wasn't anything she ever felt threatened by. It was like she knew she always had value beyond it. Like, do you get that? Knowing that you always have value behind something? Like, that you have value. That you have value. That your value creates greater. That your value matters. That no matter what game or games people are playing, secrets, rules, whatever, that you have value beyond it. It's funny because this is really like a side note. I was driving the other day, went to the city a couple of times this week, and on one of my trips coming home, there's this one set of lights on this sort of like back highways, back road highways, like not the really main ones, but the back highways. And I noticed as I was, I had gone through, I looked behind me and I saw somebody who, turned from a red light. Like they let themselves turn. It was red for them, and then they went through the intersection and turned anyways. And I thought, really, like no one was around. What's the big deal? Like it's like seeing that you can actually have sense beyond the rules of this reality. I mean, would you choose that if it's all full of traffic? Well, no. But if there's nobody around, like it's not hurting anybody. And but even when it comes to these bigger things, whether it's your place of work or a group of people that you hang out with, or within your family, or whatever, you know when like, and I've been allowing this to sort of percolate because this is a new area that I desire to have more of me in, like have even more value of me in my world. And I've done all this stuff. Like I've done almost, like, gosh, we're getting close to 20 years of all these different kind of classes that I've been taking. And next year will be 20 years. So this fall I think August will be 19 years since I took my first, kind of alternative class. Although it was 19 years ago now that I started seeing someone who did like energy work. And knowing that we're energetic beings, like you break us down, people, you break us down. Small, 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 quantum size. We're energy, we're moving particles. And so the energy that we be, the energy that we choose, everything has an energy. And, so I started looking at this because I want to choose more value in my life. I want to be that for me. And less impacted, even more, little by little, every day on, what other people think. That old model of myself being a incredibly fantastic people pleaser, being so incredibly aware of other people's worlds that and seeing the value in pleasing them, allowed me to really lose sight of what was actually true for me. Now, there's been some main choices that I've made, that I chose for me. I mean, I chose my husband and I chose to have 3 kids and moving and living where we live and stuff like that in my career. And those things were safe to choose within this reality. Getting married, I'm heterosexual. Heterosexual. So when I got married 2 years ago, being heterosexual and getting married is very acceptable. So I made an acceptable choice. The career I chose within the healthcare field was an acceptable choice. Having kids was an acceptable choice. And I remember even during my journey of this, when I'd start to go to these classes, I mean, often you'd find people that were gay in these classes because it was a place that they could finally be themselves, or at least it was a beginning place for some people to find themselves. And I remember feeling uncomfortable, like with these people that were gay, and I couldn't figure out what the heck it was for me. And then I realized what it was is I was so jealous of these people that were allowing themselves to become themselves. And I still did not have the courage to choose that as a white heterosexual woman who's married to a husband, a man, having children, working a traditional acceptable career. And, it, and underneath all that, I wasn't really like being me. I was still bouncing around other people's expectations. Now, that still was me because I still did choose those things. And I'm still very grateful I chose those things. But it's those little things that rock the boat. Telling someone that actually doesn't work for me when they talk to me that way, or saying, no, I don't really want to go to this function, or this dinner or this movie, or when I wanted to leave a job that wasn't healthy for me, I didn't even consider it. Do you know, you guys, I realized, like, zoom, zoom, zoom. It's already 15 minutes in. I am just going to have to continue this show on the next episode because I apparently have a lot to say about this. Although I suppose having value in ourselves is an invaluable, priceless gift. So, on that note, you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for listening. Big hugs.